Welcome back to No Crime After Dark, where we have to talk about crime in the daytime because people tend to have nightmares and make you want to go to bed with them and end your whole night because they too scared to stay up and watch the movie. But you wanted to stay up and watch the movie and they didn't, so you had to go to bed early with that person because they're scary.
So it's time to wrap it up. Okay. Nonsense. And let's go. To bed we go.
Because you was like, no, I'm finna go to bed. All right.
All right, good night. I was like,
He's like, no, we going to bed. Like,
you going to bed too. Because I ain't going to bed.
I'm not scared.
I'm tired. I wasn't even tired. I just didn't want to watch that scary ass movie.
Because we definitely stayed up watching The Hills or something. Like,
because I know I wasn't tired. It wasn't that scary ass movie. That movie was scary.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in another week. Last week we talked about Robbie. I want to retract some statements I made. Told y'all my mama be on it. She.
Ooh, I got a gift today, and I love it.
We're gonna be matching next week, y'all.
Yep.
But my mom corrected me on some things, so I did mention that I had an aunt that was working there at the time, and she was working there at the time, but she was actually on break when he came in shooting, and they had locked the door and turned the lights out and hid in the break room, and she did not return. I think I said I thought she did.
No, I wouldn't have either.
Yeah, she never returned. And one of my other aunts, and she couldn't remember which aunt it was, but one of my other aunts was literally walking into the mall, getting ready to clock in at the same store. And they believe they literally probably walked right past him.
Oh, no.
Yes. So I do want to correct that part because I don't want to be putting out false information. And my mama gonna always make sure I don't. So there's that on that. And Todd is excited for her shirt, Mom. Shout out to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Huh?
I said a little gift to the side piece.
To the side piece. That's the story within the story within the story within the plot. So
don't say that.
It's such an inside joke, y'all would never get it. But anyhow, I should have sat on a pillow. I'm short.
Well, I mean, you are short.
I'm just little
like this.
Anyway, this is gonna be a twofer.
Yes.
Somehow we don't have the same amount of notes, but I still feel like we both probably covered everything. But
good.
What you didn't get, I'm sure I did.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Episode 3 was apparently your favorite, so I'm sure you got all the notes on that.
I mean, it had me going.
You're just ignorant. Anyway, we will be talking about a story that is being talked about, Natalia Grace.
Mm-hmm.
This is the story of the identity of what many thought was or is a little girl. Natalia was born. I don't know where to start. It's so many twists and turns.
Yeah.
Natalia was originally born
on Investigation Discovery.
Yes.
And it's about a young girl that was adopted. Her age is what we're all trying to figure out. Was she older than what she was, or was
she younger? Yeah.
So go ahead, take it away.
So what we do know for sure is she was born in Ukraine. Yes. That is the one definite fact we have. She was born in Ukraine.
Right.
Ukraine. This entire story, so we don't have to keep saying allegedly. This whole story is allegedly from both sides.
Yes, everything is.
He say,
she say, he say, she say, or
throughout the whole and everybody wrong, but all of it is allegedly. So, summer 2010, we'll start there. The Barnetts, they were pretty, not even pretty. They were a well-to-do family. They apparently, if they wasn't millionaires, which I feel like they were,
to it or something like that.
Real close to it, at the cusp of it. Because he said they had 5 or 6 cars, one of which being a Mustang. He had a convertible. They had a multi-bedroom home, the pool, the tenant, like they had the whole shebang. Yeah. Did you get what they did for a living? Because I did not.
No, they didn't say.
Okay, they never said what they did for a living, but whatever it was, it made a lot of
I
money.
know they went to the Purdue College, and it's a good college. So I mean,
Yeah, Purdue was up there.
yeah. So I mean, they gotta be doing something good.
But they had 3 sons.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get this?
Son's age, or I got their name.
Names.
Age.
The
Yeah,
names.
Jacob, Wesley, and Ethan.
Okay, they had 3 sons: Jacob, Wesley, and Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
And the bright child, the whiz kid, what was his name?
Jacob.
Jacob. So Jacob, while on the spectrum, because they also felt like he was autistic, or found out he was
He's
autistic.
autistic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they found out he was autistic, but at the same time was a genius.
I feel like all autistic children are geniuses in some
In
way.
their own right, yeah.
For sure.
But he was winning awards, doing TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
He was, like I said, he was the whiz kid. They're doing good. The typical, I can't even say blue collar, just upper class family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Doing good for themselves.
They're perfect.
And they had been married for 15 years before getting Natalia. They didn't specify what or why. My assumption would be they just wanted a girl. Maybe they were having issues with getting pregnant. They didn't go into
I think the dad was saying they felt like they could give someone a life that, a good life. So they just kind of wanted to help a child out. So I guess that's
sidebar. It's plenty of kids right here in the US of A that could benefit from that. But anyway,
yeah,
we probably wouldn't have a story if they did that. So anyway.
Yeah, because they were going to adopt from Haiti.
Yeah, okay, and I have that too. So they were originally they were looking for a girl specifically.
Yeah.
But they were originally going to adopt a little girl named Gilberta from Haiti. But before they were able to do so, that earthquake hit and they stopped all adoptions after the earthquake. So they were kind of disappointed. But soon after, they got a call from an adoption agency in Florida called Adoption by Shepherd Care, because I'm going to put that name out there because y'all knew.
It's the way the daddy was like, check the address, because
wait, now it was in the middle of a strip mall.
This don't look too like a just
he's like the neighborhood was pretty run down, and but they had heard, the adoption agency had heard about the Barnetts through a charity for disabled children and thought that Natalia would be a good fit for them. So the first red flag, because it's about 200,000 of them. The first red flag is they only gave them 24 hours to respond.
Right.
That's not typical.
Is the jankiness of the location.
Yeah, that's not typical. Like if you first of all, from what I know, and from my situation, I've never heard, maybe it's a rich people thing that they reach out to you because your name is in the bucket, but I've never heard of an adoption agency, especially a foreign one, reaching out to a specific couple. Well, but again, that's probably an out of my tax bracket issue.
Right. It wasn't a foreign agency. The agency was in Florida. It's a U.S. agency. That family that adopted her originally was from Ukraine. They moved.
But that's what I mean when I say foreign. It's somebody that wasn't U.S. born and raised. They came over in some kind of way.
Like if you adopted a baby in Ukraine, why are you trying to drop this baby off to us here in America? Keep your baby. Something wrong with the baby.
We gonna talk about that. But the first red flag is they were only given 24 hours, and the adoption process in itself is no different than buying a home. Like there's a whole process. You got to go through your escrow and all of that, essentially, with adopting a child. They got to do background checks. They got to do all that. Mm-hmm. If they're doing it right, they got to do all that. So they decided in that 24 hours, we just gonna go ahead and
get her. Mm-hmm.
They went to Florida. We already kind of got ahead of ourselves on that. They were surprised at that location. Because like I said, it was they said a rundown strip mall on the wrong side of the tracks. Yeah. I like to use exactly what they said. But because this was a closed adoption, they were not able to get a lot of information about her. And I think if I ever do it, I would never do a closed adoption for that reason. Because if nothing else, I feel like medical is very important.
Yeah.
Family history, illnesses, that kind of stuff is important. So I need to know that before I take on that kind of responsibility. But all they would give them on her was 2 pictures, and her Ukrainian birth certificate. And at the time, the birth certificate stated that she was 6 years old. Again, Natalia had a special type of dwarfism. I could not pronounce nor spell.
Me either. I rewinded it. I said, I can't pronounce this. I ain't gonna say anything.
I'm not gonna try, and I'm good at pronouncing words, and they kept saying it, and I still couldn't get it. They said it a million times, and I still couldn't get it.
Yep.
But y'all can look up the type, but she had a special type of dwarfism. To give you an idea, she was pretty limited, like how her hands and her legs were, which I feel like most people with dwarfism have their limits, but you can tell she wasn't able to do like a whole lot.
Yeah, a lot of things were like
her, the way her feet was, like she was special.
Yeah.
So, but they were excited to get her because when they found out she was 6, they had a son the same age, and so this can work out. Like they said,
her birth
twins.
September 4th, 2003.
3.
And their son Ethan was born also in September, so they would have grew up like twins.
Yeah, like they said, like twins.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where it's also a red flag. Before we get too far, this is why y'all getting 2 parts, because
it's a lot.
So much wrong with this situation. And this is not your, this isn't your murder mystery. It's a crime, because people definitely did some things wrong, but it's definitely not your murder mystery. So we're more on the crime side.
No one's dead.
Nobody's dead.
Oh, wow. We
can laugh and not be guilty on this one. But nobody's dead. It was still funny, but it's not. Anyway. But what they noticed while they were waiting to adopt Natalia at the adoption center, like they had the Barnetts in one room, and then they could hear something going on in the room next to them. And Michael said, like, he's trying to like look through a little keyhole and see what's going on, and they can hear people talking, people moving around, but like he can't make out what's being said. And then boom, through the door, here comes Natalia, mommy, daddy, da 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 da. What he found out later was that was the previous family. This is a key point. Please hold on to this piece of information. This was the previous family that had adopted Natalia, and they were handing her off and re-adopting her.
Somebody else.
Yes. Upon first meeting Natalia, she looked like a 6-year-old. She acted like a 6-year-old. She sounded like a 6-year-old.
To them.
Because when I first started watching it, but anyway. To
them.
So while they were in Florida, why not go to, I think, what is the Disney? Yeah, they went to Disney World.
Disney World. Mm-hmm.
Why not? You just adopted a new kid. You want to give her a chance to get to know y'all. Let's have a warm welcome. That made sense to me. So and they got the money for that kind of stuff. So let's slide through Disney World before we go home. Once back at the hotel on day 1 after getting her, Christine was giving Natalia a bath. Mm-hmm. And the next thing Michael knew or heard was Christine. And I'm sorry, I didn't say this in the beginning. Michael and Christine are the parents.
Yes.
But he heard Christine screaming from the bathroom, like, get in here now. Like it was like a frantic, panicky scream. Mm-hmm. And she insisted, like, no, you need to come. Because man, well, what you want? What is?
Why is you screaming like this?
Like that. I said, come here. If I'm screaming like this, something is wrong.
But through the documentary, we could tell that now that scream probably was a little dramatic because she seems very dramatic. Christine does.
That in that instance, it was not dramatic. I don't think. Michael goes to the bathroom because Christine said, "I said, come here." That's what she said. I feel like in my mind, I said, "Come here."
Hello, I'm calling you.
I'm hollering. When he gets in the bathroom, Christine tells Michael, she was like, "Look down." He looked down. Natalia's 6 years old. They see a vagina with full pubic hair. I don't know what that was, but that was perfect special effects.
It's him.
I don't know what that was. Shout out to whoever's in the background right now. But they saw full pubes on what is supposed to be a 6-year-old. So they kind of just decided, which I think is weird, to just move on to the next situation. We're not gonna pay this too much mind. Mm-hmm. It's a little off, it's a little weird, but
whatever. They were like Googling, researching like how early can a young woman or a girl get puberty?
But I don't think that could happen any sooner. And I was just talking to my homegirl about that. I don't think that could happen any sooner than 8 or 9 years old. Because me personally, I started my cycle when I was 10. And I didn't start seeing hair down there for some time, even after I started my cycle.
I thought I got armpit hair before I got pubic hair.
I think I did too.
Yeah, but I really don't know. Like, I don't know for sure.
But I'm saying I know, because I'm going to tie this back in with my personal later on. But after having a conversation with my homegirl, basically, and realistically, I don't think that can happen before the age of 8. At best, maybe. But like I said, nowadays, with all the hormones they putting in food, you really don't know.
We don't know how the women work, okay?
You said what?
I don't know how the Ukraine women do, okay? That's different.
It ain't about Ukraine women. It's just general anatomy.
They might just, be different. I don't know. I guess I just had to, was it a lot or was it a little?
At 6 years old, anything is a lot. Like, even with Baldy, 6 years old, you would have been a little concerned if you saw some pubes.
Girl, I would have freaked out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So 6 years old in general is just too young to be seeing pubes, in my personal opinion. But like I said, they decided to just, maybe it's a genetic thing. I'm guessing that's what they thought. I don't freaking know.
It's just what they family do. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. Like I was saying, I ain't judging, but me personally, 6 years old with pubes, we finna go talk to somebody and see somebody right now.
Yeah.
So, but they move on, but they started to see things out of Natalia early on. And here's the next creeper and red flag. So they didn't specify how long later, but sometime after the pube incident, I hate to identify it as that, but after the pube incident, Michael comes home one day, and she weird for this. Christine is. He comes home to Christine holding a pair of Natalia's underwear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
And holding her underwear in general is weird. But when Michael gets closer to see it, he realizes there's blood in the underwear. So now we've seen pubes. Now we're seeing blood in underwear. They end up finding out that she had been hiding. They found what they said. They said they found
rolled up socks.
Like that she would take the underwear and roll it up inside, throw it out the window. Like they were finding soil underclothes pretty much all over the place.
Yeah.
So what I don't like, Christine would put her on the spot. That's what I did notice.
Yeah, I didn't like
for a lot of stuff. She just put her on the spot. But when Christine told her to tell Michael what happened, Natalia simply said, well, I have a period and I've been hiding it. She's 6 years old, y'all. 6 years old.
How would she know what a period was?
My mama didn't even start talking to me about mine. Like I said, I started when I was 10. That would have put me, because it was the summer of that. So it was that summer before I started the 4th grade, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Either I was fresh out of the 4th and going to the 5th, but I think 4th makes more sense for me just turning 10. So I was getting ready to start the 4th grade that September because my birthday's in June. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was getting ready to start the 4th grade that September. And literally, like that year, because back then you started sex ed in the 4th grade. They started introducing it then. That's prior to permission slips and all that. That's why we avoided pregnancy the way we did, because they just slapped it all at us. They didn't need permission. They just did it. They just put all the grotesque everything in our face. They scared the hell out of us. But no, so I started prior to 4th grade. That's at 10. I couldn't hide it.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of parents are you that you're not? I was more open, like, because my mom has talking to me about it.
Like she's already been had it. She's comfortable with it. She knows how to hide it. She knows what it is. So
and that's what I'm saying. Like, my mom had just started talking to me about my cycle maybe 6 months prior. Like, whenever I started sex ed that school year in 3rd grade. No, it had to be. I was going to 5th. I had to be, because they wasn't teaching sex ed in 3rd grade. So 4th grade, when I was first introduced to it, is when she found out that was part of my curriculum, she started bringing pamphlets home from like Planned Parenthood and other places to help me further understand what a period was.
Yeah.
And that was at 9 and 10. So at 6, I knew a period was a thing.
Girl, I don't even know what.
But I hadn't had one.
I don't know what the other girls are doing, but I ain't got
right. I had heard the older chicks, because I'm in elementary school, the 5th and 6th graders talking about they period. But at 6 years old, I was trying to see if we was gonna have the graham crackers. What was them? The Teddy Grahams.
Oh, them Teddy Grahams do. Maybe.
Don't you want some right now? Now that I say that, the original honey ones. But anyway, but she told her, and like you said, at 6, how do you know what it is enough to hide it?
You would think that you would freak out. Like, I'm waiting.
No, at 6, I would have definitely flipped.
I'd be like, oh, what the hell is this going on here? All right.
So after this happened, Christine was talking to a friend, and the friend was like, you need to figure out who this girl is, because there's no way she's 6 and having a period.
Right.
There's no way. So they were taking Natalia to the doctor for surgery on her feet, which I had touched on earlier. If you go, this is why I'm about to take, because somebody got it, a social media class, so I can figure out how to add pictures on this, because that's what's stressing me out right now. So they can see what we're talking about. But if you go back and do any type of Google search or watch the documentary, whatever, you'll see that she did have a condition with her feet. Like, she was able to walk,
but it's like she's walking on the side of her feet.
It's like one foot is the side, and then the other foot, it seemed like she was on her toes.
Like her legs were really.
Mm-hmm.
She needed Forrest's mama. Forrest's mama would have
She needed
Quince quick. Forrest's mama don't play. That's how he got to school. She don't play around for his mama. She would have got it done.
It's only a matter of time before we get banned, bro. We are buying our time right now.
Slowly.
He got the braces on his legs.
Forrest would have had it. Forrest mom would have had it done.
Christine wasn't about to.
She wasn't about that life. She was too fragile.
You get my damn nerve.
Oh Lord. She was gonna have surgery.
I'm trying to get back to that.
The doctor who was doing her surgery actually knew another little girl who was actually 6 years old who had the same type of dwarfism.
And what was rare is they said it was only 3,400 people,
right,
in like the world with this condition. So for them to find somebody in the same city was random.
Yeah, in Indiana. And so
Indiana.
They set up a play date. Now that is something that really was strange to me.
I'm gonna let you take that over.
So they set up a play date with this little girl. Her name is, I think it was Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a cute little girl. And the mom and her will come in and they expect to see a little 6-year-old girl. and that's not what they found. The mom states like Natalia was bigger,
considerably bigger than her. Yeah,
was growner than the baby's face, the 6-year-old baby's face.
She had titties.
She had breasts. And they showed the picture of them together that took like, oh, and you could tell that her face is.
There was a big difference.
A big difference. That baby looked like a baby, like a little baby, like a baby. And Natalia looked like a preteen. I'm not going to say she was grown, but she wasn't far from it.
So. I'm trying not to get there yet. I promise I am, because I have a solid opinion on that one.
And what they noticed it. She said that Michael, the father, said that Natalia can kind of tell that him and the mom were like looking at each other like something wasn't right. So she tried to baby her face up, like pout her lips or.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try it.
You just look funny. That is not looking like a baby. And like she did, she looked funny. She looked like a baby. But she tried to make herself look like a child.
Right.
And they end up leaving from there. That family never called back because I'm like the mom said on the interview, like it just wasn't.
And even Teresa, I want to touch on that. Even she said, as a child that was actually 6 at the time, she could tell.
Yeah,
Natalia was way bigger than her. Yeah. She looked different than she did. She even at 6 years old could tell Natalia wasn't 6 years old.
And that she spoke really well. Like she had she can hold a conversation with an adult. Like, so they were over it. They weren't coming back. No, they didn't have a friend in them.
You ain't got a friend in me.
Ain't gonna happen.
So, as they're starting to notice things, they start asking questions. And Natalia wouldn't share much because she knew she was slowly being figured out. So she wasn't sharing a lot of information. And when she was asked one time, like, well, what is it like in the Ukraine? Like, what do you, and she's like, it's always
like the park or the picnic or the some little thing that they do. And
she was like, well, it's always summer there. Now, this is when my geek come out, my little nerd about myself. I don't know a whole lot about Russia. But what I do know is they have heavy-ass winters.
Right, don't they wear those hats?
Yeah, that's where we got we in the Midwest wearing Russian-made hats, like, because it's cold. But no, I don't know a whole lot about the Ukraine or Russia. I'm putting that out there. But what I do know, geographically, it's cold out there more often than it is warm. Throughout the whole country. It ain't just certain places.
I watched 90 Day Fiance, and this crazy black man went to go find him a bride over there, and it was snowing. And he had like a sweater, a leather jacket, earmuff. Like he was like wrapped up. And
they have heavy winters out there.
She didn't show up.
Heavy winters. So to say, if you got good sense, for her to say, "Oh well, it's always summer."
But it was so funny because it's the brother Jacob who is the genius, and he's like, he was like, she just said it was always summer, and he looked confused, like.
Like, I mean, if that's what she felt. Because Jacob was like, I ain't even gonna put her out there like that. I just like
he said, I call her my sister, sister, but I haven't seen her in a while.
Listen.
Jacob's honesty is on point. I love it.
So anytime after that, when she was asked about the Ukraine, she just never had an answer. Like she just wouldn't say anything. So then the Barnetts thought it would be a good idea because they found out that there was a woman from the Ukraine that spoke their native language. And this might make Natalia feel a little bit more comfortable to have somebody that speaks her native language. The lady starts speaking. Natalia don't even know what the hell she's saying.
She turned into a real toddler. She said, cookie. I don't want to
Juice.
Say juice.
They can't say nothing else. Juice.
The words, because she was not saying it. And that's what I didn't understand, because I was a little confused. So if she doesn't know anything about the Ukraine and she doesn't speak the language, was she really there? I watched the whole documentary. You have not, so you will see.
Yeah, I'm only have, and that's why we're breaking it up, because we're doing 1 through 3 episodes now.
Confusing that you supposedly live there from the ages up to birth to 5 years old. And
you would know.
You would know You would know,
because that's the only thing you've heard.
Yeah,
from birth.
She was brought to America earlier, probably as a real toddler.
You're telling too much of the plot, child. You're telling too much of the
plot. I'm just saying that's how I feel. I mean, she does look like she's from there. I just don't know, I don't know. It's confusing. It's just so many questions. Not enough answers.
You saw the whole thing and you still got questions. And so, yeah. I only saw what we covering today.
And if I don't tell nobody he gay, I don't understand it. That man's gay. So I don't, what the hell?
Who's gay?
Michael.
What? Michael who?
The daddy.
Oh,
the daddy.
Girl, you know who I was thinking about.
No.
Jackson, child.
No. What? Michael the daddy, the man we're talking about in the
we need to call him Joe or Jim or something, because I definitely got offended.
No, Michael.
You know I'm sensitive about Michael. But anyway.
Yeah.
So but they find out they even noted it was Jacob that said she didn't even have like a Russian accent. Like at all. Yeah. And I currently have a Russian landlord. Mm-hmm. You can't mistake that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I remember telling Paul, like, I ain't for sure, but I'm pretty sure he's Russian. Just listening to him talk, like
they have like a demeanor.
It's very distinct.
Yeah, and then they have like a
monotone. Yeah, he's all that.
Yeah.
Like, he tried to crack a joke, but I don't know whether I should laugh or not, because yeah. I don't know. Are we?
Are we laughing?
Right? Are we? Yeah. So, but no. So now they're getting even more suspicious because they said she didn't know and then Jacob said there's the Cyrillic or Cyrillic alphabet, which I'm assuming is the Ukrainian alphabet. Mm-hmm. And after this incident, Jacob was outdone. Like
and those type of children need facts, and that you ain't bringing the facts, Natalia.
And it wasn't. He needed it to make sense, and it wasn't making.
Making sense. So this is all false. I don't know what you're talking about. This is false.
Period. Yeah. But after this incident, Natalia did not speak for 4 days. They said.
Yeah.
She didn't say nothing.
And then
that's a sign of guilt to me.
Yeah. She was trying to come up with her next. She had to come up with her next stuff. She's like,
yeah.
What am I going to do?
So after 4 months, and we're going to try to keep this within an hour, y'all, because we already 30 minutes in. I promise we got so much.
The second episode now. I think this is like the second episode now.
No, we are on episode 2 now.
Yeah.
We moving along, but I'm just saying it might be a little longer this week. But within 4 months of Natalia being there, they started seeing major issues. This is what they're saying. After 4 months of having her, she would start to taunt Ethan. And I thought this was just disgusting. I don't care what age you are. She would get in the car, sit next to him, and intentionally, can I say piss on YouTube?
I don't know.
I'm finna say it. We're gonna find out. And intentionally piss in the seat next to him. Like she would target him to sit next to and pee just to aggravate him. I have come up with a million ways to aggravate my brothers from birth to 38. Pissing next to him was never one of the things I clocked out as to being reasonable.
Yeah, no, you don't
Our
want
rooms were on the same side of the house, and all that
to.
separated our rooms was locked.
Jim has OCD. If you was to pee on anything, you
Especially in his car.
your ass is grass. Or
You know that he don't play by his car. Especially
like
in
this
his
stuff.
car.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play that. Jim
And my mama, she ain't got OCD. She just don't play them type of games.
No, she's not gonna play that bull crap game with you. No.
She understands you 6, you having a tantrum. Go take a nap.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Are you hungry?
Piss
Are you not feeling good? If none of them answers come to yes, go take a nap. Because she's not finna do it.
No.
I just, everything appalls me because my parents could possibly never. But and they call it trauma. I don't feel like it was trauma for me personally. Because now I know not to piss in random places.
Our own people.
Our own people.
Sick ass shit. Sick. I'm telling you. They would have had it. I would have been in jail.
I'm glad nobody died because I feel like we're gonna laugh at a lot of stuff we shouldn't laugh at.
I'm telling you, I went to jail for child abuse because I would have beat the fuck out of her. Oh, I would have spanked her. Shoot that spanking. Handicap.
And this is coming from somebody that has probably only spanked their child maybe twice in the 13, almost 14 years he's been on this planet. So yeah, that she's that mom. She's only had to literally spank him like twice, and he's almost 14.
Every day, but
she ain't put hands on him but twice.
But he let him piss on somebody. Sure, he might have a black eye.
Girl, he gonna get a train of whoopings because who does that?
Sick.
So aside from taunting her brother, Ethan, they said she would throw herself out the car. So how Michael described it was like they come out the grocery store and they're getting ready to get in the car. And Natalia would always wait to be the last one to get in the car. And then once they get everybody settled, get all their stuff in the car, and they start getting ready to back out and leave and get a little speed up, Natalia would throw herself from the vehicle. Now, in hindsight, when I'm saying it in this moment, because when I was watching it, I'm like, that's some retarded, crazy shit.
Yeah, like, why are you doing that?
But then in hindsight, on their end, I'm assuming at best they were in a minivan or like an oversized SUV. Like
I think he said it was like a Jeep Cherokee, like
a
SUV or something like
that. So
an
oversized SUV. I would assume because y'all got at least 2 kids, Natalia and the other son, I'm thinking it was Ethan, are the same age, you would have child locks on your door because this is all of happening between 2010 and 2012. So child locks was definitely a thing. So at best you would have child locks on your door. So now my question is, how is she throwing her dwarfism body? And I've seen how she looks from the back of the vehicle.
Yeah. No.
Without you guys being aware, without her having to tussle for a minute, or even one of the boys seeing it. Like, how was she doing that?
They probably did see it. It's like, oh, Natalia's throwing herself out. Like, what do I do? Catch her? What do I ask a girl pissing on people?
That's you. That's you. Like, well, she throwing herself out the car again.
But it drove off on her ass. I'm not gonna play around. I know.
Now I gotta come to the fucking Times Square and pick up Natalia because you done left her in the parking lot because you sick of her throwing herself from the vehicle.
I'm not gonna play with this little girl.
She wants every time we come to Walmart, she throwing herself from the car. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Bye. Stay at Walmart. It's just a lot of things that would have just gave me a headache. I mean, initially, if that was in my mind, if that was a real 6-year-old child, I would not have done her like that. But she is not 6 and she knows what she's doing.
They know at this point. Let's be real. They know at this point.
Play around with you. Shit.
So
crazy ass little girl.
Oh Lord, I'm glad Baldy is the only kid you have. And he turned out very normal and okay. Because good grief.
For all that, I'd rather deal with an old person.
Because she really called me like, you need to come get your niece, nephew, whoever.
I'll videotape her. Look at this idiot here. Look at her sitting out here. You know
It's
me and
the
Nick.
fifth time this week. She
know me
threw
and Nick
herself
is
in the back of this damn Jeep.
I'm in mad. I just Lord.
So not only was she throwing herself from vehicles, she would go out her way to taunt the family. She would throw toys. This was creative. She would throw toys that belonged to her brothers.
The younger two mostly.
Street, in the middle of traffic, to force them to go out into the street. And again, all of this is allegedly.
Yes.
To go into the street to get their toys, essentially putting them in a position to be harmed or killed. And this is what Michael and Christine decided or came to the conclusion that this was what Natalia's goal was. Like, she wanted to harm them and their boys. She would hoard knives in her room. When Michael asked her why she was hoarding knives in the room, he said allegedly, again, this whole story is alleged. He said that she told him because she was going to kill him in his sleep. So now he's worried, as he should be.
I wouldn't be worried at all.
This is why our channel's a little different.
I wouldn't be worried at all. You gonna kill me? Okay.
I'm not even gonna say what I want to say because we gonna get flagged. So I'm gonna tell you when we get done. I'm gonna skim past that part because it ain't got nothing to do with her being a 6-year-old. I'm leaving it at that. But so now they start looking for help because they're concerned about her behavior and the threats. And they reach out to the adoption agency. And again, they're like, it's a closed adoption. We can't share any.
I ain't got nothing for you. Right.
Period. Like, sorry, Pimpin.
The one lady does call back.
No, wait, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We are. That's why I said we're gonna have to do this in 2 parts because what you didn't get, I did. So they tried a lot of doctors before they found one that saw what they were talking about and what they were dealing with in terms of the pubes, the period, the threats, like everything. So they thought it was going to be like a diagnosis of schizophrenia or something of that nature, ADD, just anything. That's what they're thinking. And what the doctor came to the terms of is she's a full-blown sociopath. And shortly after this diagnosis, one night around 2 a.m., Christine wakes Michael up because she heard a noise in the house. So Michael gets up, checks, and he checks everywhere in the house. And then once he got to Natalia's room, he finds her standing in the middle of the floor. And I literally wrote this down based on the conversation that they said happened. He asked her what she was doing. She said, I'm waiting. He said, for what? She said, and this is when this little bitch would have had to go.
Ooh.
She said, for you to go to sleep.
The crickets.
My husband couldn't tell me in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. he just standing in the floor and I ask him what he waiting on and he say for me to go to sleep. We finna be up together all damn night looking at each other.
I just I said I just don't understand it. I just know.
Again, this is why we are a different type of channel. Because with a child, you waiting on me to go to sleep. Okay, that's fine. And you're going to think I'm asleep. But anyhow, he will wake up in the middle of the night to Natalia at the foot of their bed with a knife in her hand. Like I said, there's 1,000 red flags. They had several opportunities to take this girl to a safe haven and just drop her off.
Yeah,
where there's no questions asked. A police department, a hospital, anything. And no questions asked. But y'all continue to deal with this. So they still didn't want to give her back, but at the same time, she openly admitted that she wanted to kill the family. And as a 6-year-old, I feel like at 6 years old, and that was what I wanted to say. After talking about Robbie, because what I did not like that I noticed in this documentary, especially from the people with dwarfism, well, she was a little girl and I wouldn't take the threats from a little girl that seriously.
That teacher, I wrote that down. That teacher that said, I'm a teacher and I have little kids that say, I'm going to drink your blood and I'm going to cut you up. Ma'am, your students need help.
You need to be recommending them to something.
That. Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, with whatever everything we said about Robbie last week in terms of how his parents tried to get him the help. They noticed that this was not normal. They noticed that there's nothing okay with how he's talking and how he's acting. So let's try to get him some help. The people with dwarfism are in denial, and I feel like it's and I'm gonna say it, it's a complex because they feel like, oh, because we're little, we're not capable of doing this. We're not physically capable of doing that because we're so small. I, to some extent, agree, but Michael did bring up a good point. The grand majority of what Natalia had to do with her upper body strength because her legs were not as strong. Yep. Not saying that she could have taken down a full-grown man, but at the same time, she had some strength about herself, is what I'm saying.
Time, he also don't want to hurt this little girl thing.
Right.
He don't want to hurt her. I mean, which one? And then if he beat her ass, then you're going to be like, oh, this grown ass man. No.
Now it's a problem. So, but keep in mind, if you watched last week's episode about Robbie, I feel like what happened in that situation should have happened in this situation. They did take steps, but we're going to get to that. So after multiple life-threatening situations, they tried to checked Natalia into the stress center.
Mm-hmm.
And the stress center declined to let her stay, but advised, because she was only there, I think they said a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
A month, that's what it was. But they said she couldn't stay, but they advised that she should not have free roam of the house. They told them to put locks on the door.
And that was weird to me. I was like, you can't stay here. But if you take her home, lock her up. Because she don't need to be roaming the house.
Because in reality, they're going to report it to the next level of authority versus sending her back home. Because these are people that can afford the care. So, again, 1,000 red flags on everybody's part. So Ethan's birthday comes up. They don't say which birthday, how old he was turning. And he was obsessed with like cows and cattle and stuff. So they took him to I wrote down the name.
Creamery? Is it a creamery?
It was a creamery, but I thought I wrote down the full name, but apparently not. But they took him to a creamery nearby. Mm-hmm. And this is all happening. I'm sorry, we didn't even say where these people live at.
In Indiana. I said it.
Indiana, but what city though?
Westfield?
Yes. It's somewhere later in my notes. But so they took him to the creamery because he likes cows. Makes sense. And as they get to the creamery, they have to sign I'm saying a disclaimer, but they have to sign a contract stating
like a waiver.
A waiver. That's the word I'm looking for. They had to sign a waiver because they had electric fences on the premises to keep the cattle and the animals from getting out. So you had to sign this waiver stating that if you were injured by any means by these electric fences, you're liable. We're not.
Yeah.
So they signed these waivers, and at some point, per Michael's description, once again, Natalia is just falling out and she can't walk and she's just incapable of doing anything.
She can't walk.
Yeah. So Christina's like, well, you and the boys go ahead. I'm going to stay back here and deal with Natalia. So while she's dealing with Natalia, all of a sudden, Michael said, they only got a few yards up. again, hold on to this information because it's gonna make sense later. They were only a few yards up when he could hear Natalia screaming, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch," and whatever. And when he turns around and looks, Natalia is pulling Christine, like trying to pull her down and drag her toward the electrical fences to quote unquote kill her. So after this incident, like, because the police was called, the ambulance showed up, the whole nine. After this, they had Natalia admitted to a psychiatric hospital, where she eventually admitted because they have psychiatric sessions with therapists and have them draw out pictures or say whatever, how they feel. And Natalia admitted that she was wanting to murder Christine and the sons. Like, I don't recall them ever saying that she wanted to kill Michael. It was always Christine and the boys.
Well, she said she wanted to stab Michael when he was going to sleep.
Oh, she did say that. Yeah. She was waiting on him to go to sleep. You
I
right.
What you gonna do? I mean, like the life insurance wasn't in your name. I mean, what you gonna do when everybody dead?
Some people don't care. Some people just like to kill. That's why we're here. Because some people just like to kill.
Yeah. That's just...
Lord. What's your train of thought? Because we were talking about her killing Michael. Where's the note?
Oh,
okay. She was admitted into the psychiatric hospital. She was drawing pictures. She was telling people that she wanted to kill the family. So after trying to change her, essentially, and they were trying to drug her to get her to calm down because she was spazzing one day. They had to turn her over and take her clothes off to some extent. And they saw the pubic hairs. So at that point, the facility moves her to the adult unit. And they have multiple recordings. This is why I got to get this social media class so y'all can hear this for yourselves. But again,
they had like nurses.
Staff. Yeah, they had some nurses and just people on staff that was working while Natalia was in their care. And they all generally said, one, she spoke like an adult. She did not talk like a child. And I really should say one, but two, flirting and propositioning the male staff. 3, she was very busty. That's literally what they said. To have been classified as a 6-year-old. So this is all between 2009 and 2011. This is the timeline for all of this. March 2012, Christine is pissed. Oh. She want to know who are you? Who do you know? Where did you come from? Who sent you?
Yeah.
That's what Christine is on.
Get to the point. Right.
Get to the point. And Natalia's not budging. She's not saying nothing. And my homegirl said it best. The best way to piss off a manipulator is to put them in the same room with a manipulator. Because you can't out-manipulate a manipulator. And that's how they're going to get pissed off. And I feel like this is what it was with Christine and Natalia. Christine was trying to manipulate, but Natalia was better at the game than she was. Because if you guys have not been paying attention, Natalia's not 6 years old.
Yeah, and Christine's not that innocent either.
Period. Michael either. No, that's why everybody's wrong. Everybody is wrong in this situation. So Christine, like, all right, cool. You don't tell me, that's fine. That's straight. You can sleep your ass outside on the deck.
Yeah, they made Michael and Christine come get her because she was being too frisky with the men in there who are not. They are child pedophiles. So they was like, no, she can't be here. She's not safe. So they had to come get her. Christine ends up locking her outside. They could have put her in her shed. I mean, Jesus.
First of all, with all the rooms they had, they could have put her in a room
and locked her in
the other side of the house.
And I don't know. Then what is it? Is it DCF? I don't know. What is it? What is it over there?
DCFS.
Yeah, the child protection.
I think it's DCFS everywhere, like generally, but they all have their own name.
They get a call from the neighbors because they don't want to hear homegirl crying anymore, the 6-year-old. So they call and then they, now they over at their house asking questions. Why is this baby locked outside? And
And I would have called the police too, like, because they said it was hours. Like Michael said, she had been out there for like 3 hours, just like
Michael was
bloody murder. I would have called too, like, because the fuck is wrong with y'all?
The police come and they're explaining everything, and he passed away, so they couldn't get an interview on him, and they could not, get any evidence of what Michael said that this officer said. But he said, go to court and get her age changed or her age corrected.
So where it started was Detective Klaus, that was his name.
Yeah.
He came over, and according to Michael, within 10 minutes, Detective Klaus could tell that Natalia was not 6 years old.
Older than what she was.
Yeah, like she was way older than what she was. So according to Michael, Detective Klaus returned a few days later after running Natalia's information. And they found her original naturalization paperwork, and she also admitted that she was told her new birthday at the orphanage. So basically, they told her, when these people get here, you tell them this is your birthday and this is how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
But also, what Detective Klaus found out was in the 4 years between her first adoption and the Barnetts getting her, she hadn't grown at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a dwarf. And we're assuming she's 6 years old. Clearly she was not. We're assuming that between 2 and 6, she should have grown some.
Yeah.
Even as a dwarf, she still should have grown. But in 4 years, she hadn't grown at all, which goes more along with my theory about the age that I think she actually was, which was more her mid-teens.
Yeah.
Because unless you go through a late growth spurt, you kind of stop growing around like 17, 18.
Yeah.
Like me, I stopped growing at like 15.
I think she was 12 or 13 when she got there.
I said 14 or 15. But
Yeah,
she definitely wasn't 6, 9, or 10 like they were trying to say.
Yeah. She was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
But they reached out to the agency a third time. No, this is the second time. I take that back.
Yeah.
A second time, and they still, nope, it's closed adoption. Can't tell you nothing. Yo, bad. It's basically what they're telling them. But sometime later that same day, the secretary called from the adoption agency and told them, look at her luggage. Take a further look into her luggage and her backpack. I can't tell you who the parents are. I can't tell you none of that.
But look at her.
What I can tell you is look in them bags. When they look in the bag, they find the ID tag with her previous adoptive parents' names of Gary and Diane. I don't know if it's Chacon or Sacone because they pronounced it different.
Yeah.
Each time. So now we're in the Ukraine 2020. So we're only 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
This is how recent all of this is. A Ukrainian detective did his research on looking for Natalia's birth mom, who turned out to be a woman named Anna Gava.
What was her sister's name, girl?
What you think her sister's name was?
I don't know.
He didn't find Anna.
But he found Tatiana.
But he found her sister, Tatiana. Yes, he did. I hollered. What is? And he found her sister, Tatiana. I was like, of course her sister's name is Tatiana.
And so, because when I used to work at the nursing home, and all the old military men, he started like,
right.
Oh, that name, that's the Russian name. That's the Russian name.
Is it?
That's what they say, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Tanya got it off some perfume. It wasn't even
that complicated. She didn't even do all that damn research.
No, that some man gave Granny as a gift, I'm assuming, and my mom liked the way it smelled, and she liked the name, and that's what
Tatiana. I'm gonna name my daughter after this. Okay, Tanya.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, sister name. Literally, we are not making this up. This is not allegedly. Her sister name is Tatiana.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets in contact with Tatiana. So Tatiana calls Anna on the phone so the detective can talk to her, and they talking, and the sister's like, well, just talk to the detective, or Tatiana, the sister, is saying, just talk to the detective and let him know. But Anna is very agitated, like, why don't y'all just leave me alone? Like, why are we still talking about this? And Tatiana's still like, well, just talk to him, hear what he has to say. Some shit you would do. Just hear what he has to say. And Anna was like, look, this was, and I quote, this is not allegedly, because there's recording of this. Anna's response was, this was 17 years ago. 2008 to 2026. That puts her at what age at that point? They adopted her in 2000 or 2009 is when they adopted her.
April 2010.
Oh, 2010. I'm sorry. So 2010 to 2020 at the age of 6. That makes her 16.
But I don't feel that when she says this has been going on for 17 years, I feel like she means she's been dealing with these phone calls for 17 years.
And one thing I did notice is when they called to Anna, she was like, look at her. We look the same. We look exactly the same. And from what I can see, they do look like they are twins.
Yeah.
So it could easily be Tatiana's baby too. Yeah. So maybe that's what Anna was referring to. Like, we've been going back and forth about this for 17 years and you just keep dragging it out.
Well, you'll see at the end. But anyways, what I'm saying, that little lawyer lady from New York, she was like, well, if you add it up, that's perfect age. No, because the Sacones are not calling Anna about their child when she's 1, 2, and 3 because they're not having problems. They're just changing the freaking diaper, feeding her, clothing her. It's when she turns 10, 11, and she start having these behaviors. Now they want to know who the real mama is because this baby, something wrong with it. So now I'm feeling like, yeah, you've been dealing with the phone calls for 17 years, but for the first 5 or 6 years, this baby was okay.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have no bad behavior from a 2-year-old. What a 2-year-old doing?
No, but even as her being assumed as a 6-year-old, that was just too much. For even a 6-year-old, that was just too much.
What I'm saying is her phone calls started maybe 6 or 7 from that other family. But by the time she was already older than that. Because they didn't dealt with her for a while now. But you'll see.
Y'all gonna see. She's seen it all. I ain't seen it all yet. So she got a little more information than I do.
So they get the birthday change. That's what ended up happening.
I feel like we might have to cut it off now because we had 1 hour and 2 minutes already.
Oh, we can't talk about my episode.
And we ain't even close to the meat of it.
Because that was a good episode. I am telling you. All right.
So y'all, unfortunately, because we are at 1 hour and 2 minutes, so this might be a 3-parter. I don't know. But so
no, the next episode is just like
the third episode wasn't too much.
Yeah.
So we might still give y'all a 2-parter, but we're gonna stop right now because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you already probably at work or whatever you doing, and you ain't got 1 hour and 45 minutes to listen to this. Because I didn't really have the 4 and 5 hours I had to listen to the 3 episodes. So I'm just saying.
I listened to our other one yesterday. I mean, this morning at the gym. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, but so just remember, we left off at we know who Natalia's birth mom is, or we think we know who Natalia's birth mom is. Think we know what her actual age is at this point.
Her birthday got you.
Her birthday. No, that's not. We're not there yet. We're not even there yet.
That's the next step.
It is the next step, but we're not even there yet. But her birthday did get changed, and she done already put it out there.
I mean, that was the next thing, though. So
that is the next step. Her birthday does get changed, but the amount of years it got changed was ridiculous. But her birthday does get changed.
I think it was a good amount of age. Okay, go ahead.
I think they were off, but anyhow.
Okay, go ahead.
As always, y'all can catch us Instagram. I forgot. No crime after. Is it underscore no crime after dark? Oh no, no crime after dark _ podcast. I'm sorry. I'll never be forgetting our handles. So Instagram, no crime after dark _ podcast. Facebook for the like group or the like page and the private group, no crime after dark. I'm debating on making a Snapchat, but TikTok, no crime after dark. And if you have time to be on Twitter, X crime after dark, but I can honestly say don't look for a whole lot there because I'm still working on that. But if you really want to catch up with updates, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm gonna get back on my reels. I'm good. We're about to be more consistent. We just had some vacations and some transitioning, but we got y'all. I'm gonna leave it at that. Cause I want to tell y'all more, but I can't.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm good.
Good
You got
night.
anything you want to say?
No, good night.
All
Mary,
right.
thank you for my shirt. I love it.
She loves her shirt. Is it the same color?
No.
Mine is a burgundy. What color is yours?
Different. It's different.
Pick your best friends better, because then
It's
they be
me.
acting funny when they get a shirt from your mama. Pick your best friends better. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyhow, we
It's
will
no
catch y'all.
Later.
She better be glad I ain't got nobody else to do this damn podcast with. We'll catch y'all next week. Same time, every time. Y'all have a good one.